Hello everyone, this is Jasmine and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will create ASP.NET Core MVC application using Entity Framework. Before we start the project, let's understand few things. What is ASP.NET Core? ASP.NET Core is a modern, open source web framework for building cross-platform web applications and APIs. It's lightweight, modular, and runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. It unifies MVC and Web API into a single model, making it flexible for web mobile backends and even IoT applications. And it is supported by Microsoft and .NET community. What else do we want? Now, the prerequisites. To make the best of this course, you must have a good understanding of the following technologies: C#, HTML, CSS and JavaScript, SQL and database. If you are not familiar with one or more of these technologies, please do not panic. I'm there to help you. Now, what are you going to get from this course? First, we will understand how to set up an ASP.NET project, the project structure of ASP.NET, how to create model classes for entities, how to assign relationship between entities, building views to display data, building controllers that communicate between models and views, how to create JSON web APIs, repository pattern in ASP.NET. So let's get started. Go to Visual Studio, click on Create New Project. Now go here up, type MVC and you will get ASP.NET Core Web application. Click Next, give it a name, people. I have .NET 8 in my system. If you have .NET 6.0, it's fine. The project will still work fine. Create. So this is how our application looks. It has model. Model classes allow you to map data to your database. A model class usually consists of properties along with their getter and setter methods. Then there is views. View is a part of an application that a user can see and interact with. It mostly consists of HTML, CSS, and even JavaScript files. A user can visualize, interact, and update stored data through views. So this is how the views look. So we have our default pages over here. Index page. Index is the default page. Whenever we click on a web application, the default page, if is not given, it goes to the index page. This is the shared file. This is the layout. The layout is like a master page of our ASP.NET. So if you're not familiar to ASP.NET, it's fine. So it's like a skeleton which has where we can write the header, footer, menu bars, which will be used in all through our applications. Then is the controller. Controller is the layer that sits between the model and the view, providing communication between them. This is how our default controller will look. The name of the controller followed by the controller, and there is always a default action. This is called the action, index, privacy. Let's run this project and see. So this is how our web application is looking currently. It has a home page and a privacy page. Let's create a model class, name users. Now to speed things up, I am copying this code. It has the ID, name, email address, password, phone number is that. Now I have used data annotations for it. So the name is required. It enforces that this property should not be left as null when entering data. Then email address. It validates if the data is a valid address. For password, I have given a minimum length. For phone number, I am using regular expression. Since I have given the data type as string, so I'm using the regular expression property to enforce that only phone numbers following a specific format can be entered. Now let's create a user context class. This is used for the entity framework. So we will create a folder with the name data and we'll add a class in it. We will implement DB context. Since I'm using .NET 8, so I'm getting an option to install it directly from you. If you don't get an option, you can go to the NuGet packets from tools and install the entity framework core. Now we need to create a constructor, make it public. It will have DB context options, user context options. Here I will give it a data set of my model class. Since I just have one model class, I am creating only that. So we are using a code first approach. So after we create this, we will have a table with the name users. Get set. Now let's create the connection string. Our connection string will be in appsettings.json. Here write the connection strings. I'm giving it the name default connection. This will have the database string. So here you can give your SQL database connection. First we need to create a database. Let's create a database with the name people. Okay. So one way to get the database connection is through the SQL Server Object Explorer. Go to View, SQL Server Object Explorer. Here you will get the database, get the properties and get the connection string. This is the easiest way. You get the connection string, you copy paste it over here. Now let's go to the program.cs. Here we need to add some services. The first one is for the Razor page. Builder.services.add Razor pages. We need to add DB context. Give it the name. DB context is of the name user context. options, use SQL, control dot. Okay, we need to install Entity Framework Core SQL Server. So go to Tools, NuGet Packages. So we need to install this one. So it's installed. Now we can use it. Builder dot configuration connection string. Here we need to give a connection string name, default connection. Now let's build the code. Now let's add the migration. Our database is created. We need to create a table. So let's add code for it. Go to Package Manager console. Okay. Add migration initial create. This will create a migration folder. The startup project does not have reference. Okay, so we need to install Entity Framework Core tools. Go to the NuGet package again. Entity Framework. It's been installed. Let's install this. I accept. Done. Now let's go to the package manager. Great, build succeeded. Now we need to update database. So let's check the database. Here you can see the people database, and here is our table users, and we can see one more table, EF migrations history. This will show the list of the migrations. Every single time we do migrations, it will be updated in this table. Now we need to add seed data. Seeding the database means to store data into the database via code instead of manually adding data. This is helpful for testing purposes also. So let's create a file, seed data. So here I have just copy pasted the code. I will share this in my description box. I'll share the code in my description box. You can also copy paste. You don't need to type all these things. So here it's user context. Yeah. Now we need to update program.cs. Add if args.length So this code will basically seed the data in the database when our application starts. Means it will insert the data into the database. So let's run. We need to use developer PowerShell. Here write .NET run seed data. So our seeding is complete. Now let's check the data in the database. So here you can see the data. It has come from the seed data. So we have built our database. Our database has data. Now we can start doing the coding. So we will start with the controllers. Let's create the controller with the name. Controller with the name users. Controller classes are where your application logic reside. So here we will add the dependency injection. Now ASP.NET Core utilizes dependency injection to establish a relationship between controllers and your database context. So here it is through constructor injection. Public user controller user context. Context. So first we need to declare the user context. We declare it private, read only, user context underscore context, and we assign it over here. So here you can see the action method index. This is the default action method that is triggered when someone accesses the controller in their URL. So in our case it would be users/index. It is like controller name and then the action name. Let's make this async. Task. So this represents an operation that executes asynchronously. So this function task I action result, this operation returns results from the action method asynchronously. In the view it will be await. Whenever we write async, we need to write await underscore context dot users. So this will show the list of the users. Now here the users is followed by the toList async method. This returns the entire table in the form of a list. Let's create view for this page. Right click, add view, give it a name index. Views in ASP.NET are basically HTML and CSS along with some additional syntax to represent dynamically changing data. So here we will call modal enumerable To speed things up, I have copy pasted the data. So here I have given the title, this is the name of the page, and this is a table. So this is the table header. The table header names are coming from the database, the modal name. This is the modal name, and this data is coming from the database. So here we have created a for loop where we iterate the columns, and at the end, in the end, we are writing a code for edit, delete and the details. So this will be shown in the table format. So whenever a user, this is a hyperlink, whenever user clicks on edit, it will be redirected to the edit page. So this is the action method for the edit, and this is the ID which is going to be sent from this page. So the same thing is for the details and for the delete. Let's run this page and see it in action. Before that, we need to add a link for the users in the menu table. So here, users, action name is index, and menu name is users. Now let's run this page. This is how our page looks when we click on users. So this is the list of the users that is coming from the database, and we have the edit, details and delete. So we need to create views for these pages also. Now I will make another video for this. So let's keep this video short, and in the next video we will create the pages for edit, delete and details. I hope you like my video. If you like my video, kindly like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.